looking at the famous, widely reported interview of Isaac Oyedepo, okay, titled The Bridge, where he was interviewed by one of the pastors in Living Faith Church, you can not only but notice one thing from this interview, which we are going to be seeing, okay? You will discover someone who obviously narrates a mandate, or should I say, obviously has an assignment that might tend to be different from that which is obtainable from the Living Faith Church. So there's no way you can actually listen to his interview carefully without being tempted to insinuate that it might just be a matter of time before this pastor eventually decide to start up his own work. Let's listen to that.
It was my sophomore year in Oral Roberts University, and that's why I have such a strong tie to that school, that prestigious university. I just finished classes for the day. I think it was an afternoon period where I had some time, and went to the hostel and slept, and I saw what you would consider as a vision. I saw myself back in Nigeria. Now I was in the US. I saw myself back in Nigeria. Saw myself, I think, around the Yanopaja area. And saw myself on what we call an Okada, right? The vision opened up. And I saw a very young chap. I wouldn't give the details of that. I've never shared that publicly, as it were. But then that's when I got a clue of what God's plan was for my life. Now, without me having so much detail, surprisingly, I wrote it down, kept it in my wallet. Then came 2006 when I began to cry for God's plan and purpose for my life. And then he said, I've already told you what it is. And so he took me back to what my purpose was already unveiled 4 years prior. Now it's amazing that sometimes God may have shown you his assignment for your life and you didn't know that is what it was or is. I had no interpretation for it at the time, but the Lord moved me to write it down. I still had that paper I scribbled this vision on 4 years prior in 2006. So when I was asking him, Lord, I want to know what your plan and purpose is for my life, he said, go back. I've told you before. And I was wondering, you told me when? How? How did it happen? When did it happen? And this is where God's plan and purpose for my life, for my generation, came in. Right? I had no idea. Now, I want to also say that you may not understand all the details of the vision initially. But now in the phase that I find myself, I still find myself referring back to the original vision. Surprisingly, when I came back about a year ago, I still have the document I typed out. This is as far back as 2007 in the original form, typed, sealed. I still had a look at it and I saw God unveiling that. I told you this 2006. It's compared to what I showed you 2003. So 3 years prior, sorry, not 4 years prior. And then now with what I'm telling you today, you still find it hidden in the same document. So mine was a bit of looking back to what he already showed me, because at the time I wasn't asking for vision, but I found myself at the point in that vision where I was, if I remember correctly, sobbing. I saw the state of my generation in a little boy, had no idea, had no understanding of it, and then I woke up with so much concern, so much deep-rooted concern for what I saw in this vision that I was moved to write it down, kept it in my wallet. I changed wallets several times. I kept moving the paper from wallet to wallet to wallet. 2006, asking and crying to God, what is your plan for my life? He said, go back, I've shown it to you before. And then from there, he began to unveil scripture. My brother stated that it's very important to ensure that there is scriptural background. Now, at the initial vision, I didn't know it was a vision. I just wrote it down, so there was no scripture. But now scripture upon scripture upon scripture showing me exactly what his plan for the first phase, as I knew it then, would be. And then I've seen that with phase coming here and there, new phases, coming here and there, there's also scriptural backups, but it doesn't deviate from the original vision.
And so obviously when he eventually came back, true to his words from the interview which you have seen, he was seen moving from different locations where the younger generations are, okay, where the younger generations are. Obviously, from what he said in this interview, you could understand that he has a burning desire for the youth. So maybe, of course, as you can see displaying on the screen, these are various different meetings in campuses and gatherings of young youths or young adults, okay? So I might be thinking maybe that was what actually informs the decision of the Living Faith Church to have appointed him or to have given him the position of the global youth president, okay? Knowing very full well that this young man has passion for younger generation, and of course he even set up a platform which he called, I think, the Ignite or something of that nature. But then the question still remains: has Isaac Oyedepo truly resigned? I tried looking for his personal Instagram page, right? But I discovered he has actually converted it into what is now known as Anazwa generation. Meanwhile, this was initially his private Instagram page. So this actually suggests maybe he wants to use this for his own private work. As we can see from the profile here, it stated the official account of Anazo generation with Pastor Isaac Oyedepo. He convenes, ignites, awaken, Kingdom Come Crusades, and M2G Academy. All right, so this obviously suggests that he has a separate and a different work other than what is obtainable or other than his pastoral role in Living Faith Church, okay? Even as of this time, we are yet to actually get to receive any formal address from Pastor Isaac Oyedepo as to whether this is actually truly a fake news, or even that we've not seen anybody from the Living Faith Church or the Living Faith administration or officials coming up to debunk this news, okay? But in all honesty, okay, looking at the interview he granted to Pastor Steve Oga, alongside Pastor Steve Oga, okay, and also considering the initial source of this information. Remember, it was Church Gist that actually posted this information, and in that our last video we were able to establish that the owner of Church Gist is also a pastor in Otta. So he's actually closer to them than most people that have been debunking this news, yeah, if you ask me. As well, I think it's just best for us to actually still believe that the news is still valid, depending on when maybe Isaac Oyedepo comes up to give a different news or debunk the news. But from all indication, I can actually say, looking at the interview he granted, you could obviously see, if you are very observant and careful, you could obviously see that this is a man that has a different purpose or a different calling or a different assignment from what is obtainable from the Living Faith Church. So just like I belong to a group whereby one of the members said something very key and important. He said, if we are expecting, if this news of his resignation is actually true, that one thing we should not expect to see is to see an official or a member or a pastor in Living Faith or a pastor in Living Faith Church coming out to give a public address as to this issue, that it is not in the style of Living Faith Church. So it is now a prerogative right of Pastor Isaac Oyedepo to actually come up to say, come on, this news is true or this news is not true. But pending to when Pastor Isaac comes up to either debunk the news or confirm the news, I think based on the source, Church Gist, who happens to be a pastor in Living Faith, not just a pastor, but one of the top pastors in Living Faith Church, I think it is safe for us to assume that truly Pastor Isaac has actually resigned from Living Faith Church. So we want to know what you actually think, or maybe if you are a member of Living Faith Church, you can actually come to give us a better perspective. Whichever the case might be, we still believe that the young man has something for the generation, and going by his interview, you could actually agree with him that yes, this is someone who is passionate of something, and passion, as they say, is the mother of success. Okay, so once again, I want to know what you think concerning this news that is everywhere right now. So leave your thoughts and your comments on the comment section, and until next time again, when we come your way, we say